You're listening to Well, I Laughed, Part 3 of Welcome to New York, Here and There.
Welcome to our podcast.
Hello.
We just went live on Instagram, and if my voice sounds maybe quieter to you, it's because I'm trying not to die actively. That's it. That's all you need to know.
Maya has a apparently incurable form of Victorian child syndrome.
I don't know how else to describe it.
Like weak and melancholy.
I was so, like, when we got back down to sea level, I was like, oh fuck, like, I kind of didn't want to feel better because I also didn't want it to like feel like it was elevation because I'm not that bitch.
Of course.
You know?
You're a Colorado native.
From Colorado.
You've been here before.
The fact that I had to use one of those O2 canisters was like debilitating
I'm
for
like,
me.
oh, look at that. The thing I've only ever seen advertised on the train at the airport.
Casey was like, do you want the O2 canister? And like in my heart, I was like, I probably should. And I was like, quietly, I was like, yeah. And he was like, Jacob! And I was like,
we have one weak woman over here. Could we get the weak woman special?
I was like...
I remember at one point trying to kind of put a little bow on it because it did kind of get like a little bit of a vibe that you didn't want a lot of people to know.
No!
But I asked, so what does it taste like? Because that is legitimately something I'm curious about. And I forget if it was you or Casey who was like, air.
Casey.
It tastes like air. And I was like, okay, don't normalize it. That's fine.
Yeah, he brought it down, and I went into the room to like use it because I was like, no one can watch me do this. It's embarrassing. I don't want to.
Dear listener, we were above 10,000 feet after she had been below sea level at various points the day before, and she was embarrassed that she had to have just a little bit of canned air.
Because I think those things are dumb, but it did really help. I had like a crackling in my chest. I was like, I have pneumonia.
You know what Ina Garten would say?
No.
If you can't make your own air, store-bought is fine.
Fair enough.
Yeah, no, it was a wonderful time. Being up in the mountains was fantastic.
For those of you who, I don't know if we've really prefaced this story well at all because we were just talking about it on the live, but we were up at Casey's house in Breckenridge, Colorado, which is way up high in the mountains, and then his house is up in like one of the suburbs, kind of on the other side of the ski hill, so it's at like 11,000 feet. And yeah, so Casey and I spent Christmas in New York City. We got back on the 27th, like pretty late, and then less than 24 hours later, we were up in Breck at that 11,000 feet. And so, and the entire day of New Year's Eve, I was like down for the count.
Yes.
I was like in bed. I came out to like get breakfast and stuff. I ended up putting a mask on because I like could not stop coughing, and I didn't want to like make people uncomfortable or anything. And then I just ended up going back into the room, had a little Menti B, as you do, and then ended up watching the American Kennel Association's finals for Best in Show. Really enlightening.
Do you remember what our last social moment together on the trip was? Really?
No.
Before you fell ill?
No.
The last thing Maya and I did together, along with about 6 of our other closest friends.
Shotsky.
No.
Oh.
We watched Cocaine Bear together.
My God.
And you were so clearly on the verge of getting sick. We
I have a Polaroid
watched
of it.
Cocaine Bear together.
That movie is so unhinged.
Friends, I know.
That will be our
I did that
Patreon
episode
content.
6 months ago at this point. I had never seen it. I think it's pretty clear at this point. I'm kind of like a pink unicorn and rainbows kind of guy. I don't do horror all that well at all. And so I was just like, Cocaine Bear, like, I know what the story is. I don't need to see it. It's whatever, right? Who watches that alone? Well, when you're in a cabin for New Year's weekend, you and 6 or 7 of your other friends all make a series of cocktails, warm up a couple of cup of noodle ramens, and you have the funniest movie night. If you have not watched it, watch it.
If you don't like gore, though, I will warn you that it's like they use gore as like a shock factor.
It's a comedy gore.
It's a comedy gore, but it is still like... Because I think
there is red paint in places. Yes.
I did start getting high again. Because that was a different day.
That was
the second. That was because you guys came on the 29th. That was the 30th. That was the night of the 30th. So I was high. And at one point I was like, I think I'm too high to watch this movie, and I'm not that high.
When a leg falls from a tree,
Yeah.
normally that would gross me out, but it was kind of so clearly a fake, not
Yeah.
Jesse Tyler Ferguson's leg, that I couldn't stop from laughing.
Yeah.
I don't do horror, I don't do dystopia, and I thought it was
And-
maybe the funniest thing I watched in 2023.
Character actress.
Margot Martindale!
Wasn't it? She made us believe everything.
15 minutes in, I just remember going, is that character actress Margot Martindale?
I think it was just you and me and like
you and Jacob.
Yeah.
The three of us got the joke instantly, and no one else even
It's a
bothered
BoJack
to
Horseman
ask.
reference, you guys. She plays herself as character
Actress
actress Margot Martindale.
And it was actually really important to several plots in that
And she
show.
was also like shockingly good in that movie.
Believed her as the park ranger who had been unfairly passed over for promotion.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
And also as the one who did not know what to do with her gun.
It was really funny.
When she brings the stethoscope up to her mouth and goes,
Bear. Yes.
that's camp. That's camp.
a really
We've been having a
camp.
long-running conversation in our friend group as to what's like camp versus what's cringe versus what's parody of
Yeah.
itself. And camp has to have a certain level of like awareness. That's camp.
It's also so funny because I think the people that found her like that didn't know there was, or were kind of aware there was a cocaine bear, but like not really aware.
Right.
And so imagine you're in that scenario, you walk on this like bloody massacre scene and someone just says bear to you in a stethoscope.
That's
and you're
up
like,
to your ears.
yeah, you're like, yeah.
What's so funny is
There are
in
bears
that
here.
scene, as I'm now recalling it, that is actually not the scene Margot Martindale dies in.
No, it's not.
Spoiler, but
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Most of the people you meet in that movie will die.
Because it's a horror,
It's a horror
comedy
comedy,
movie.
yeah.
Yeah, not actually the scene where she dies in it, which I think is also so funny.
Shocked that the bear doesn't die.
That's right.
I fully
forgot about that.
expected the bear to die.
Who's also a mother.
What? A big plot point
Yes!
too. Elizabeth Banks. What?
Oh, also the fact that it's Ray Liola's last film. Famous actor Ray Liola, who the best way I could describe
He
this
was in
movie-
The Godfather.
Yes.
Because I remember googling him. Oh my god.
He had a distinguished acting career. I don't think diminished by this.
No.
It's just kind of funny that, you know, tragically,
Yeah.
that was the last movie that he made.
But for that to be the last movie that he made in like a long run of like very serious films.
The reference I made to the group right when we sat down to watch it, like 5-10 minutes in, when you realize it's all of these like big name actors and actresses
God.
in like bit roles, right? It's like when you were in middle school and you were assigned a group project and there were many options, one of which was an essay, and none of you took it. And instead you chose the video like version of the project, and you're like, it's going to be so fun and it's going to be so funny, and it is. And then you run into a reality that we ran into,
Yeah.
which is that like video production's hard and video editing is even
harder.
And so I just kind of felt like Elizabeth Banks invited all of her friends over to her basement, recorded something, and then when they left, did hours of editing
Yes.
later. It was great. I loved every second of
Fucking
it.
hilarious.
A fantastic
That
movie.
really brought me back to high school for a second.
10 out of 10, 0 notes, enjoyed it. Fantastic movie.
I definitely covered my eyes several times because there was just a lot of blood, and I knew that I was just you know, feeling myself enough to be like, this could haunt me in my dreams. I do not need any of these visuals in my brain right now. I also have a Polaroid of Grant's first shot ski,
Oh,
in
that's
which
fun.
you can
Oh,
see ski motherfucker.
I forget how good this color is on me. I look fantastic there.
So the Polaroids are they're flattering on everyone.
They are flattering on everyone.
Look at this picture. We're taking pictures so Casey got a scrapbook for his mom.
That's so
And so we put a few pictures of all of us in it.
Listener, it's Casey in a red sweater in front of their Christmas tree. Mo absolutely serving side face, and Bowser's butt towards the camera, face in an armpit.
Face buried in Casey's chest. That's how you know he's nervous.
Like, what's he even nervous about?
He gets nervous when we ask him to go places or do things. Casey and I were like,
Sorry.
it's ridiculous. We like got into bed a couple nights ago, and he was like, do you want to cuddle? And I was like, I really don't. And he was like, but I'm cold. And I was like, I don't know, man.
Another blanket.
Well, damn, Jackie. I can't control the weather. And so he was like, Bowser would come up here and warm me. And I was like, he absolutely would not. Because I've asked him to come on the bed before, and he won't, because he knows he's not supposed to be on the bed.
He will not break that rule.
Casey dragged this dog onto the bed just to prove me wrong.
Well, you know what? I want to make Bowser uncomfortable then to prove that I'm right.
And then last night, or like whatever the next night was, Bowser got nervous because Casey kept like having to go into the bathroom or whatever, kept walking past him, and his bed is like kind of in the walkway of like our bedroom, and Bowser just kept getting on the bed to like get out of the way, and Casey was like, no, like you can't be on the bed. And I was like, you taught him this.
You told him it was okay. Now fix it.
It's like, this is your fault.
Sometimes people will be like, oh my God, I love the podcast. It's like sitting down with two friends. And I'm like, wow, we're such good storytellers. And then all we do is talk about movies we've seen and dog stories. And it's like, oh yeah, no wonder people are like, it feels like I'm sitting down with two friends. We have yet to say anything of note. But that's okay.
It's only been 10 minutes though. So
Has it really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Well, because we were on Instagram Live for a while. So
That's right.
I feel like that knocked out a bunch of our...
generated a bunch of content. I'm back to my dream life is killing me now that I'm training for my next half marathon.
I need to start. I need to recover lung-wise.
Legitimately, last time I ran was the last half marathon that I did, and so I needed to start somewhere. So friends are like, oh my God, what's your training plan? And I go, oh no, I'm going to start planning and training in February. Right now, it's just about moving, but...
Do you think that's okay, like an okay timeline to start running in February? Or start like training in February?
I think so. It puts it 3 months out.
Okay, I need to like get back into the groove of my regular workout schedule, and the idea of putting running into my normal workout schedule right now freaks me the fuck out.
Yeah, I'm pretty tired right now. I'm not gonna lie, because after yesterday's run, I then went to the grocery store, and this is the worst thing in the entire world if you're an adult. At 8 p.m. I got home and had not had dinner yet.
Nope. So Casey came down at like 4 p.m. and the gym that we go to at 45 has classes at 4:30 and 5:30, and that's usually when we go, one of those two classes. And he comes down at 4 and he's like, I think I'm gonna try and go to the 4:30, like work is wrapping up. And like my work has been pretty slow, so I'm pretty flexible. And so I was like, oh, okay. And I completely lost my train of thought. I have no idea where I was going with that story. Oh, yeah, I got hyperfixated on something, on like a project that I was working on, and I realized that I had heated up lunch for myself at 2 p.m. It was now 4, and I had not eaten anything all day, and I was like, this is going to be my first workout in 2 weeks, and I'm recovering from like an illness, a small Victorian era child, whatever.
I love you. I could not relate to this story less.
That's fair. But we were like getting ready to leave, and I pulled my spaghetti that I had heated up in the microwave out of the microwave, and I was like, I forgot about this. And Casey was like, so you're a little hangry? And I was like, how dare you?
Me, while I'm holding my lunch 4 hours late to eat it, you would attack me like this?
No! It's like, how dare you talk to me like that?
You're really going to call me out for being hangry when I'm hangry right before I don't want to go work out because I'm hangry? How dare you?
Interesting. And today's workout was like, it was a strength day, and that's why I like kind of wanted to go, because I knew it would be like a lower heart rate day.
Go get swole.
Yeah, and also I won't be like literally dying the whole time. I'm a strength girly. I'm not a cardio girly. I don't do that. But today's strength workout has a cardio like pod in
element
it.
To it.
Yeah, and so I was like, I did the cardio thing, and I was like, did it. And then I just sat in the back corner of the gym with like my head in my hands and my elbows on my knees, and Abby came up to me and was like, you good?
Hey, champ. Hey, how's it going?
And I was like, yeah, I'm doing good.
Here's the thing, Abby's so tender, and yet I also never want to disappoint her. Ever?
Yeah.
Oh, also, sorry. The word tender reminded me of something. I need to share this with you. Can I?
Yeah.
Okay.
You've never asked me that once before.
I know, but if we're still on this topic, I don't want to cut us short.
Fine. Go
okay.
for it.
So we're back to school. This is our second day back. This evening, second day back. So this story happened on day 1 of second semester. The kids asked me kindly, "Oh, what did you do for New Year's Eve, Mr. Thomas?" And I said, "Oh, I went up to the mountains with some friends. Do you want to guess where I met them?" And I'm trying to say college, because I'm a teacher at a college preparatory public high school, where we're kind of encouraged to get the kids to think about college.
Yeah.
And I've known several of those people because of college for over a decade. So college was the correct answer.
Oh.
I go, "Hey guys, oh yeah, and guess where I met these friends at?"
Gay bar.
No.
Oh, no.
Somehow better and worse at the same time. One, instantly. I don't know, Tinder?
What?
One, no, I would never invite someone like that on a weekend trip with friends over a holiday. Get out of here.
New Year's Eve is something that you don't really, like, unless you're in the city going to bars and stuff, you're not, like, going for a weekend getaway with someone that you just met.
I love you. We have someone very close to our lives who
That's
absolutely has
You're
done
right. I'm
that.
sorry. I'm so sorry. Who would and will do it again.
And we have a second person very close to our lives who I think, stars aligned, wouldn't blink to do it.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
both.
we love you both.
And I know exactly who you're talking about.
I know.
Both those people.
And I think they both know who that we're talking to them right now. And I think a good 1,000 other people also are like, "Oh, it's so and so and so and so." And that's great. Anyways, the student immediately was like, "Oh, was it Tinder? Did you meet them from there?" And I was like, "No." And in the back of my mind, I was like, "How do you know about that already? You're 16.
Here's the thing.
You can meet someone organically right now. You have to be in the room with these people."
I turned 18 like a month before or a month after Tinder made the rule that you have to be 18 to be on Tinder.
What?
Yeah. And so I was on Tinder for like a year when I was like 17.
18?
Yeah.
Doing what?
Because at that point you could still set the age limit to whatever. And like technically,
I'm sorry, friends, this is breaking news and blowing me away.
I don't even
thrilled to break this story for you all. What?
I'm also shocked that I did it, like, looking back on it, because I remember so vividly when Tinder kicked me out.
What?
Yeah, because I was like, well, that's rude. But I also remember that, and so that means I was 17, which means I was living at home, which means I was in high school still.
Yes.
And so appalling to me, frankly, but also, like, appalling that Tinder at any point ever was
Who were you swiping on when you were a 17-year-old?
I don't remember. I don't know.
Between you and I, you have such a stronger fear of being murdered by a stranger than I do. What are you doing on Tinder at 17?
When I was in high school, I probably had less of that fear. It was more rebellious than sensible.
Hold on, let me carry the number over. LOL. Hold on.
Oh, no.
Because I'm 5, right? Years older than you?
Yeah.
Okay, no, not quite. There was a chance that
You're like
I was
4 and a
on
half.
Tinder the same time
Oh,
you
yeah.
were 17 on Tinder in Denver. No, I don't think I think, well, you may have been on Tinder before I was. That's fun. She wasn't, but that's okay.
And Casey still never once has had an account on any dating app, and that's infuriating. Because, like, Lydia and Jacob, they're, like, old enough that it kind of makes sense.
Okay, let's careful about that O word.
No, I'm just saying, like, by the time they found each other, it was like college, right? And like dating apps are like now in kind of their high, like in the last, I don't know, like 5 years.
Oh, it's definitely Facebook 2009.
Yeah, exactly.
100% right now.
And so like they make sense. Casey, however, a year younger than me, infuriating that he's never been on a dating app. Everyone I know has at least like downloaded and made an account.
You're right. Casey at 16 should have gotten on Tinder. You're
exactly.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you for agreeing with me. It's important to agree with the women in your life.
That's all I wanted. My God. I feel like Phoebe Buffay because I don't know if my voice actually sounds different, but I'm like, in my head, I'm like, damn, I sound sexy.
I love how I'm a sexy sounding woman means Phoebe Buffay, who sang Smelly Cat, Smelly Cat.
There's an episode where she's sick.
What are they feeding you? It's a singing
Smelly cat,
podcast.
Smelly cat.
It's not your fault.
It's a jam. But there's
No way, this is reaching so deep into my...
do I start it? Because I don't know if I know the lyrics. There's an episode where Phoebe gets sick and she's like, I sound so sexy. And she like sings and like gets a whole crowd. And then when she like gets better, she like intentionally tries to get sick.
That's such a fun 22-minute art kind of like story to tell.
Yeah.
I love that. And sitcoms had a couple of things right.
Yeah.
On the topic of Phoebe, who, by the way, Lisa Kudrow, the actress who plays Phoebe, does such
phenomenal.
a good job of revolutionizing the role of like the ditzy blonde woman, right? Like Phoebe was written to be like the quote unquote dumb blonde of the friend group because it was the 90s. And she did such a good job of creating someone who maybe not as academic as Ross was. This is not a Friends podcast. I'm sorry. I immediately found myself
really got in there.
swimming in the sauce.
Oh my God.
So I'm going to climb out with just this. Phoebe's easily the most interesting character who is defined by the sad things that have happened to her, but not in a way that like creates pity, but instead creates more intrigue.
It is. She's like the one character. There's always a character in the sitcom that's always like, oh yeah, I did this.
Yes.
And everyone's like, the fuck?
And Alexis Rose.
Exactly. And she's exactly like that character.
My embarrassing confession when it comes to all of this is how old I was when I realized the actress who played Ursula, Phoebe's twin sister,
Was also Lisa Kudrow.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you know the story about that?
No.
So her character Ursula was another sitcom that they had that like ended up failing or whatever, and they decided it would be funny to bring that
Just write her into it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So there was
really
like
clever.
another whole storyline where like Ursula was an actual character.
Really? Oh, I did not know that at all.
Fact check me. I'm sorry if that's wrong. That's
Learn
something that I just know.
something new
Yeah.
every day.
This is the one thing that I'll end on, and then maybe we can get into our
We can
stories.
talk about New York.
Yeah. Well, we can. Yeah, exactly. I was going through YouTube comments today, which
Oh, God.
there was one that I responded that was like really mean, but I was like, I'm feeling vindictive, and there's only one of you.
Okay.
Let's go. This isn't that one though.
Oh, okay.
There was one that comments. It was on one of our episodes. Usually the comments on our episodes are fairly nice. Like, there are people that actually listen to the episodes.
Sure.
The comments on those shorts that are like, okay.
Unhinged.
Yeah. There was a comment on one of our episodes that was like, Grant looks exactly like I was expecting him to. Maya looks nothing like I was expecting her to.
Which one of us was complimented and which one
Exactly,
of us was
that's what I
insulted?
I think I responded and I was like, I'm gonna take that as a compliment. Dash Maya. What? What did you think I looked like?
Listen, I'm not joking, y'all. She's hot. Like, she is absolutely the driver of this podcast.
I think what it was is that we've referred to you openly as a big, bald, white gay man.
Gay man, yeah, 100%.
And it seems
It's funny. The whole thing.
It is.
It's like a great look for me. I wear a lot of earth tones. It's also fun.
it's fun, and also I feel less bad knowing that every time I see a big, bald man, I'm like, it's Grant, right? You know?
I
Like,
literally get texts sometimes. Oh, we have a kid in one of my class. I don't know. I'll have to hear this when we play it back to decide if we keep it or not. His nickname is Racist Jonathan.
not a good start.
Because one day he came to me and he was like, Mister, what'd you get at Walmart yesterday? And I go,
Oh, I remember this.
What?
I think you've told this.
Have I? Oh, then never mind.
But you were like, we don't all look the
Wait,
same,
are you
and
just-
also I don't shop at Walmart.
I mean, just Kroger's is closer.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it, but I'm not driving further, you know? And I was like, oh, so just all bald, bearded white guys look the same to you, huh?
I've had to check myself
We do.
a couple times.
We do. We listen because we all have the same kind of head shape, and for whatever reason, the exact same kind of body type.
So true, though. Every time I've seen one, I'm like, that looks like Grant. Wait, am I just stereotyping? Nope.
My
Nope.
real life superpower is my ability to just walk through any space essentially
Invisible.
unnoticed because of how generic I look.
There's a power in one of my fantasy novels that I read.
So I think it was at least a compliment to you.
I think so, but I desperately now want to know
Need
what they
to
were
know.
picturing.
Please write in.
Please. Please tell me. I need to know. Okay, well.
Don't sound too excited.
Let's get into it, I guess. I don't even know what we're talking about in
Welcome
this
to
episode.
New York, part 3.
Yes.
I'm going to talk a little bit, and then
Yeah.
I think you talk a little bit more, and then we can finish on
So
the Am I
here's
the
the
Asshole?
thing is that we realize that every 12 episodes we've done something fun. And I'm thinking now, 12 episodes is not a long time. Maybe we should
No.
do 24.
Or 18, I don't know,
Whatever.
Yeah.
We can, whenever we feel like doing something special, again, we'll make sure it aligns with some number. But, so we didn't want to do just like a straight Am I the Asshole, I think. And so I have a story that's not an Am I the Asshole that Casey and I talked about while we were in New York. And I don't know what Grant has, to be quite frank with you. But
then I think, because then I also have an Am I the Asshole scheduled towards the end. And I think it might pair well following your story.
Okay.
So I'm going to start off with mine first.
Yeah, go for it.
When you think of New York City, you think of a lot of things. Obviously, you've listened to part 1 and part 2 of Welcome to New York, so you think of brothel elephants and Russian spies.
Hell yeah,
hopefully. What 2 animals are synonymous with New York?
Are synonymous with New York. See, here's where you're gonna fuck with me because when I was in New York City for Christmas, right? And
synonymous means similar, but
I understand. I understand
the
that.
rage in my eyes right
No,
now.
but here's the thing though, is that I met with my friend Jess while I was in Breckenridge for Christmas, and I was like, yeah, and for Christmas, Casey got us tickets to the Central Park Zoo. And I was like, I don't think I like really realized that there was a zoo in Central Park, and she was like, you've seen Madagascar. And so now I can't think of anything else.
Okay, so the answer that I was fishing for...
Pigeons?
Yes.
Okay,
I was going to say rats and pigeons, but pigeons is actually what I want to talk about for a second.
I learned some horrible things about rats on this vacation.
Can you tell us some?
Do you want to know?
I think so. I'm aware that New York has 3 different sub-rat families. A Midtown, a Manhattan, like an Uptown, I think.
So we were walking through, like, our vacation. The whole point of this vacation really was just to relax. And so we didn't have like a strenuous schedule or anything. It was really like maybe one thing a day, and then the rest of the day was like kind of meandering around. So one of the days we went to the Met, and then on the way back we like took the long way through Central Park to get back to like the Times Square area. And there was like, we could see the rats because the sun was setting. And Casey was like, is it the Rat King? And he like kept talking about a Rat King. And I was like, is this like some pop culture reference that I'm not understanding?
Which is a fair and legitimate question.
No, dear listener, it is not. Don't Google it unless you want to have nightmares.
Wait, did you just learn what a Rat King is?
Yep, did not know.
Oh my, I'm sorry. I'm only laughing because that's just how I'm reacting to shock. I am so sorry that is how you learned.
Casey, I'm not going to describe it. Rats have tails, right? Tails
Did you have a holly jolly Christmas? It's from The Grinch.
Rat tails get tangled, apparently, and sometimes they don't untangle, and that's all I'm going to say.
Well, you said 85% of it. It's horrifying.
It's horrifying. If you really, I have that little rat brain, ironically, where I just needed to scratch that itch, and I was like, you have to show me a picture. And so I was gonna Google it, and he was like,
don't do that.
He was like, no, I will find a picture for you. Yep. Yeah, and so he found one, and then rats die sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely, at different times.
Yep. And now I can't
touch anything right now?
Now I can't unsee it.
I know I have told you the story because it's one of my favorite stories, but I want to share it with our friends. I'm going to keep this friend, who I think you've met a couple times, anonymous, but they know I share the story and they're fine with it. It's an incredible story. I have a friend who owns pet rats.
Oh, yeah.
They always keep 2 of them. And on a handful of occasions, I was asked to take care of them. And I said, I love you. I love you. And regardless of my thoughts on pets, I love you enough that I will look after your pet rats if you do not make me hold them.
That's fair.
And they go, totally fine, 100%. Here's a key. Here's how much you feed them, whatever. I go in the first day. And I drop the food into their cage. But it just kind of disappears into like the newspaper bedding and stuff down below. And I was like, well, how are they going to find that? And so then I just gave them like a second little pinch. And I did that for 5 days. And I almost fed them to death.
Oh my God,
because they're scavengers.
Yeah, they'll find it.
I did not mean to. I legitimately, in my family, that's how you show love. It's like overfeeding things.
Well, also you're like, well, you can't find that easily, so.
Exactly. I was like, well, I don't want them to come back and have it starved. And so my friend says, hey, thank you so much. I can't feed them for like a week. They're so fat right now. But here's a bottle of wine. Thank you for taking care of it. And so I used to carpool to work with this friend. It's a current or former teacher. Doing my best to keep it anonymous.
Yeah.
And whenever they had a rat pass away, they had
You have told this story.
on the podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in.
You can tell it again. I feel like people would.
How are you able to keep track of that?
I just
no
very
idea.
distinctly remember editing it, and I know if I edited it, that means it was on the podcast episode. If I listened to it, that was on Patreon. Because the Patreon, I don't like listen or I don't edit as meticulously as I do the episodes.
Should I finish? Should I respond to there?
You can like tell a brief like Cliff Notes version of it.
Okay.
Because I can't tell them what episode to go to. I don't know that.
Download all 36 up to this point and listen. Anyways, whenever her rats have to get put down, because rats aren't supposed to live a super long time, she always watches Ratatouille and has a little snack with them.
And she would like send you a video,
She'd send me a little Snapchat of it, and that's how I knew the next day that she'd be a little tender, because she loved them, and I love her, and because I love her, tangentially I love those rats.
Here's the thing: is I think rats are really cute. About an arm's length away. Like, I think they're cute. I think they're cuter than, like, bugs.
Right.
You know?
Agreed, 100%.
Or, like, reptiles, I guess. Because, I don't know, they're mammals, right? And so, like, I feel, like, closer to them, I guess. However, between pigeons and rats, I would much rather have a pigeon.
Oh, 100%.
Which is weird because birds in general kind of freak me out just because their like, eyes are, I don't know, beady. You can't tell what they're thinking. I don't know.
And rats are famously predictable.
I feel like it's the human. It's like the what's that word where you like make something that's not a person seem like a person.
Like a humanoid kind
no,
of thing, or?
It's like a cartoon thing where you like make a like BoJack Horseman, where you like make a horse. There's a word for it.
I know, but I don't know the word.
I can't remember the word. That's what I'm talking about. I feel like rats are just more relatable.
Rats are more like people or less like people?
More like people.
Okay.
Just in that, I don't, like...
With love and holding space for you?
Yeah, I know, I get it.
Was
It doesn't make
crazy
sense.
series of things that you just said to
Like,
me.
it makes sense in my head,
No,
but like
no,
now
I like
that I'm...
rats because I think they look more like us.
But also
That's
I
not
would rather
weird.
have a pigeon.
Okay, so... Welcome to New York. I was going to talk about pigeons for a second.
Perfect.
The other animal that New York is synonymous for. So pigeons live in virtually every major city in the world.
Yeah.
And they are there entirely because we brought them.
Yeah.
Right. They are originally cliff dwellers that we domesticated. And pigeons helped Charles Darwin found his theory of evolution.
Yeah.
I don't know if our have I talked about this on the podcast?
I don't think so.
Cool, sweet, awesome. Losing complete track.
There's going to be a day where I won't be able to tell you, so don't rely on me.
And it'll have been a good run up
Yeah.
until then. So Charles Darwin was in London and was looking at all these Londoners with like fancy show pigeons, much like you have like show dogs and show horses now. And he noticed you could get like a great variety of animal expression from like the same species. And he was like, I wonder if that is maybe something that like nature could adjust to.
Yep.
2 years later, he goes to the Galapagos. And then I forget, what was the book that he published that founded it?
I cannot remember the name
A
of it.
theory of something and something like that.
Google it. People are going to get
Pause it
mad
for
if
a
we don't
second.
know. On the Origin of Species?
On the Origin of Species. There it is. Thank you. So anyways, that helps inspire him to found the theory of evolution. So pigeons live in our cities because we brought them there. They were fundamental in understanding the development of species. We have used them in all sorts of different things, like global conflicts. They have been great for research. They helped guide bombs to targets because we could train them to like fly to certain things. And if you have ever been to a wedding that releases doves, they are white pigeons.
They're homing pigeons.
They are homing pigeons that have been trained to fly home. And here's the thing.
That's my favorite fun fact, too. I
know.
love that.
And I can't wait to go to a wedding that releases doves and be like, you know, those are pigeons. I'm actually thinking about getting married simply for the pigeon access. And also, it helps. It makes me feel a lot better because whenever I've seen those videos of like the
well,
doves
where do
being,
they go?
yeah, exactly. Like, oh, they're just gonna fend for themselves in this random park you release them in. No, girl, they're flying home. They're hand fed.
And then they're going to do it again.
You think it's easy to
Next
get
weekend.
live pigeons into a box? Sorry, doves into a box? No, girl, they're pigeons.
They're pigeons.
And so the reason why I know this and so much more about pigeons is because we've had a kid do an informative speech in our speech and debate program on pigeons. And here's the really beautiful thing about my job. There's a lot of things that I appreciate and love about my job. This is one of them. The chance to get to work with a kid as they explore a new topic and to push it out of some like weird niche little like, subreddit community or whatever. It's like a universal life lesson. And so here's the universal life lesson that we like had to work together with the kids. Pigeons can be found in almost every major metropolitan city in the world and have adapted to the extremes of those climates really well, despite like not being exceptional creatures.
Yeah.
No one would say they're the best scavengers or hunters or nest builders. Have you seen their tiny little sad nests?
It's so bad.
It's actually, that makes me sad sometimes when I see it. They are not the most adept. They are not the best at everything. They are legitimately the guy you settle for on Hinge at 35 years old because you like, I don't know, feel weird about your investment opportunities.
I get it.
Do you though? Do you?
I mean,
one of us is out here on these streets eating a lot of pierogies on Friday night. Anyways.
listen, I've thought it occasionally, the like little bug in the back of my mind goes like, but what if you were single?
Run. Run away from that thought.
Because in college, I got a lot of joy out of the chase, and it's also so easy.
Sure.
Straight men, so easy.
Right.
And it's almost comical, honestly. And sometimes I'm like, that was fun. That was a fun game that we used to play. And then I'm like, I would rather die.
Yes.
I live in a great townhouse that I could not afford by myself. I have 2 dogs. One of them technically does not belong to me.
Right, 100%. Shared custody.
Shared custody.
You have to move out of your home.
Yeah, no, I would
Also,
not do well.
You don't, listen, there's a certain kind of mindset you gotta have to be out here in this wilderness right now.
There's a few men that I've been like, damn, you could have been a good catch. And then I'll like hang out with them some more and I'm like, oh no, you haven't been to therapy.
The reason why everyone is obsessed with Casey is because of how good of a find he is.
He's just very well adjusted and also willing to change.
So we were talking about pigeons and climate change.
Who are also willing to change.
Exactly.
With
willing
evolution.
to adapt to everything.
Yeah.
The thing that we had to... An incredible pivot by us, by the way. Fantastic segue. The thing that we had to talk about at the end of the speech was humans could and should learn a lot about themselves and just a lot in general from pigeons, both because of their ability to adapt to changing climates, but also as a constant beady-eyed reminder about how permanent our actions can be on the environment if we are not more thoughtful about our decisions. And it has made me an emotional advocate for pigeons.
Same, yeah.
Sometimes you'll get like little TikTok videos.
I've gotten on Pigeon Talk.
Yes, okay.
Several times.
And it's always in defense of pigeons.
And it's always so sad.
That's my dog videos.
There's been a couple where I've been like, that is the saddest thing I've ever seen. I mean, maybe that's why I like pigeons more than rats, is just because rats can handle it, Pigeons...
Rats aren't supposed to be part of this world, but pigeons are majestic.
Pigeons, at least, pigeons are more prone to be bullied, I feel like.
Sure.
And rats are more, nocturnal, you don't see them around as much. I'm sure they, rat traps and everything, yes.
Sure.
But, I saw a TikTok one time of this woman who was sitting at a brewery, and this pigeon just, came up and sat on her lap.
Right.
And she was like, what the fuck? And luckily she just let him kind of hang out and thinking that he would rest and get on with his day. But then she found out from people at the brewery that he had been across the street at another brewery where he had been getting kicked and stuff by other people. No. And so he was legitimately in pain and searching for, and he had come across the street and people had treated him poorly there. And so she ended up taking him home and he's now a pet. Yeah.
They're all supposed to be pets,
They
Maya.
are. They're all supposed to be pets.
Also, the pigeon motif, which I didn't know I was going to talk about when I drove here. I came here expecting to talk about pigeons. Didn't think I was going to get in this deep. Pigeons are a reoccurring motif for gentle characters you should trust immediately.
It's true.
Home Alone, there's the lady that feeds the pigeons. Yeah. And then also, Hey Arnold.
Oh.
When he gets lifted up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pigeons.
Pigeons.
I love them.
I love
so
this.
cute.
And this might be our least listened to episode ever.
That's fine.
But I'm having a fantastic time
Here's
with
the
you
thing
right now.
now is that we have enough of like a community that I'm not as worried about like constant growth. I'm
Sure.
just worried about like quality of stuff that we put
Agreed.
out. And like, yeah, it would be great to like continue and to grow and like make a ton of money off of this. But also I'm just,
But also, we both pay our bills not with
we
this.
also pay our bills and like this is doing fine. And now that we have all the equipment, it's basically self-sustaining,
Yeah,
right? And
and we
like,
look
I'm
great.
just happy to talk about what we talk about with my friend.
Yes.
Best friend.
What's this tone and your face? I don't know.
I don't know either.
I promise you I'm going to get that description written like ASAP.
Damn it, Grant!
Listen, the joy and terror of working with a professional girl boss is so tough sometimes.
I sent him a text yesterday that was like, I have some homework for you, and I could feel the anxiety on the other end of the line. Usually when I text him during the middle of the school day, I don't expect a response for like several hours. I got a response immediately. I was like, yeah, what?
Okay, do we want to get into this? Let's go ahead and dish into this real quick. You didn't just send me a quick little business text or whatever. The sentence started with, "Hey, hi, hello, hi, hope you're doing okay. So I was thinking about assigning you some homework," and I was like, "What the fuck kind of sentence?" Oh, Maya must be nervous to ask me of this, and because I have a second to respond, I'll just relieve her of her anxiety right now, because that text was so odd. Not to get a text from you, or to even get a text at that time, but the way it was worded, I was almost like, should I call? Should I call so she can hear my voice and know? Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you for looking into that. I agree.
It was my first day back on Adderall in like a week. That's probably why you sensed the anxiety.
100%. And I wasn't even going to say anything, because I'm a good life partner, if you're looking for one. Wasn't even going to say anything.
Now accept our applications.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Maya's nervous, and I can do my friend a favor. but, yeah, totally fine. I think I even, because you sent it as 3 text messages in a row,
yeah.
so I think it was like, exclamation points, like, heart. Yeah. Just every single one being like, yep, and that was cool, too. That was all of it was fine.
Everything was all right. I'm a lot like Tyler in some ways. Just need you to know that it's okay. Our friendship is okay.
Because we're talking about friendship now. There is this TikTok. I went through some of my saved little bookmark TikToks, which included videos from our little Europe adventure. And it was so fun seeing the Prague video and the London video. And I was like, we really did just have like a good time. Just
I'm
girls
glad
being
you
girls.
made those, because I think I was too exhausted from like content making, because otherwise I would have.
Oh yeah, I was like, this is my spark of inspiration. And then we got back to America and I was like, no. No. Had a great time, though.
I feel good about it.
Anyways, one of them said, I know I'm lovely because I know my friends are lovely. And that we're all just like collages of the people we want to spend the most time with.
I'm not in a mental health space for you to talk about that.
Okay, well, it's like day 2 back, and I keep like preaching sermons to kids about like, this is the time to do it. And, you know, it doesn't matter if you accomplish your New Year's Eve resolutions or not. To be the kind of person who dreams of a bigger version of themselves, that's something to be proud of. So be proud of yourself now, not later. Like, you want something more, and that's so great. You have that fire.
Yeah.
So I've been talking about like a lot like that the last couple.
Fair enough.
The last literally 2
Speaking
days.
of New Year's resolutions.
And then offended.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, sorry.
Do you have a New Year's resolution?
No, not really. Listen, this is not going to shock you or anyone else.
Yeah.
But I'm just so gosh darn content with my life and the way things are.
You and Casey, man, and your goddamn serotonin.
No, things are pretty good.
Jesus. I also don't have a New Year's resolution, in case you were wondering. I have things I want to accomplish in the new year. And I feel like the new year always brings about like things that are like, I want to get this done this year.
Sure.
But New Year's resolutions freak me out, so no.
Is it the commitment or?
I think also when I was growing up, my parents, or my mom specifically, was like superstitious a little bit about New Year's Day. And I think it was like 3 years running or something where she had something happen on New Year's Day. And those years, maybe it wasn't 3 years in a row, but it was like 3 years total or something, where something happened on New Year's Day and then like a lot of bad things happened during that year, and so she started attributing it to New Year's Day.
Okay.
And so like I think it was like in high school where finally she was like, we are not doing a goddamn thing on New Year's Day. Because one of them was, we had our horses, and one of the things that happened bad on New Year's Day was she like fell off of her horse.
Oh no.
And like she was fine, but like it was still like anytime you fall off of your horse, it's kind of like hard, you know, especially once you get older, like things start breaking easier, you start getting hurt more easy. And I think that really like traumatized her. And now every time it's New Year's Day, I'm like, I'm going to wrap myself in bubble wrap and sit on the couch.
Can I ask, did your family ever do anything for the Lunar New Year? Mm-mm. Because we have a handful of students at my school whose parents are immigrants, not from Japan, but from other countries.
It's not Japan that usually does that. I don't think so.
They're more
I want to say
calendar.
It's China.
Yeah.
But
our students are Chinese and Vietnamese who do Lunar New Year stuff. That would make sense.
But, I don't think the Japanese really do stuff like that. I could be poorly mistaken, but that's not in my culture.
You had a New York reference story experience, something you wanted to share.
This is a story that Casey
All about how
has.
my life got Sorry. I didn't even like, this is controversial, I didn't even like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I thought the story was boring. It was also on Nick at Night or whatever, and I was not about it.
It was old even for our generation,
Yes.
I feel like.
She said our generation. Please note that.
Are you technically a millennial?
Not technically, like fully am a millennial.
You're only 5 years older than me. You're not
I was born
fully.
in 93. Cutoff is like
95.
96. Yeah, which isn't 93.
Yeah, but like you're still on the cusp, kind of.
I'm a Taurus Aries cusper. I'm a millennial Zennial custer.
Okay. Whatever. You know, something interesting I saw that about like zodiac signs. Technically, so there's a lot of stuff that goes into zodiac signs, and so I don't think what I'm about to say is necessarily like applicable to how we view the zodiac calendar today.
Okay.
But technically, the way that the zodiac calendar works is that like the constellation referenced in your zodiac sign would be like where the sun is, right? And so that's why it's called your sun sign, whatever. So the Earth has 2 points of rotation, right? It has the rotation.
It got very scientific-y very quickly.
It has 2 points, 2 axes of rotation. It has the axis of rotation that takes us from day to night, and it has another axis that moves much slower that like is kind of at a diagonal. So our North Star actually changes every like several thousand years, which also means that the constellations are not in the same place when the zodiac calendar was established.
Okay.
And so technically all of those zodiac signs are shifted. Now, if we were to make the zodiac calendars today, it would not be the same as what it was then.
I'm such a Taurus. So are Jacob and Lydia.
I know, like I get it, but also...
Oh, and my dad.
It makes me... So I was born on the summer solstice, and so I'm technically like a Gemini Cancer, depending on what calendar you look at.
Okay.
But with this new zodiac calendar, theoretically, I'm definitely a Gemini. And that makes me feel really good, because that's how I've always identified.
Which means Tyler's also definitely a Gemini.
Yeah. Yeah. But that then means that Casey and I aren't the same sign or something, because it's shifted, but not shifted like the full month.
That's not good news, or
no? It's just I don't know. It's a whole thing. Anyway, so this is the story I'm about to tell is a story that Casey told me at one point, and you're gonna get mad.
Oh, okay.
I'm really sorry.
That's all right.
We were in the hot tub at Breckenridge, and Grant wasn't there. It was like before you came, and I was like, Grant's not here, I can tell it.
Okay.
And your
not nervous at all.
Your sister-in-law, Taylor, was like, he's gonna have a lot of thoughts. I was like, yeah, I know.
Did you tell it because you wanted to get my reaction on the podcast?
Right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that why you didn't tell me up in the cabin? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Less nervous.
No, it's not like, it's not something to do with you. It's a story that Casey told me. Yeah. And I thought it happened in New York. It actually happened in Texas. But I feel like New York and Texas are both so distinctly American. Right?
That it counts.
Yeah. And so I feel like Welcome to New York can also be technically Welcome to America, where this story, I think this story can only happen in America.
It's deeply American.
Yeah.
It's a Starbucks in the old wheelhouse of a castle that moves you to tears.
So here, I'm going to read the opening paragraph from the Wikipedia page. From my general kind of looking through, Wikipedia seems to be a good source. Like, I've checked some of the other sources, and they all seem to kind of align with what
Fairly
Wikipedia
consistent.
says. Yeah.
Okay.
So don't come at me for using Wikipedia. So, Ethan Anthony Couch, born April 11th, 1997, is an American who at age 16, and I'm sorry for this, a slight trigger warning for vehicular accidents, killed 4 people while driving under the influence on June 15th, 2013 in Burleson, Texas. Couch, while intoxicated under the influence of drugs, was driving on a restricted license and speeding in a residential area when he lost control of his vehicle, colliding with a group of people, assisting another driver with a disabled SUV. 4 people were killed in the collision and 9 people were injured. 2 passengers in Couch's pickup truck suffered serious injuries, with 1 passenger suffering complete paralysis.
Oh, shit.
So obviously he went to court on counts of...
So he kills 4 people?
Kills 4 people.
And also seriously injures the 2 in his car with him.
Yes.
Okay.
He goes to court on 4 counts of intoxicated manslaughter for recklessly driving under the influence. I want you to kind of... I don't know what the best way to do this is.
He doesn't get any jail time, does he?
I'm going to tell you how his defense team argued.
Okay.
His defense team argued that he was suffering from something, I don't know if it's a real term or not, called affluenza.
Oh, I've heard of the Affluenza case.
Yes.
Okay.
Where he was raised in such privilege that he had never known consequences. And so it's not fair for him to experience those consequences now, because he, when he was doing those actions, did not know that there could be consequences to his actions.
And then he doesn't get any jail time?
What do you think happened?
I'm trying to remember the case. I mean, I don't know how much 4 counts of manslaughter would get you under a different circumstance. Does the judge buy it to a certain degree?
What do you think?
That's what I think, is that the judge probably buys it to a certain degree and lets him off pretty easy. So that way he continues to not learn about consequences.
Yeah.
Is that what happens?
Yeah. He's sentenced to 10 years probation.
What?
Doesn't spend any jail time and undergoes some like therapy.
What?
Yeah.
I know it's Texas, and even still this shocks me.
Yeah. He should have at least served, I don't know, like minimum 6 months, like a year. But no.
He should have served the regular sentencing
He should have.
Guidelines.
Ultimately, affluenza is a bullshit argument, in my opinion.
Well, it's also like, yes, I mean, even if your parents haven't dished out consequences, which, I don't know, it's hard to believe that you would spend your entire life never once experiencing a single consequence. Like, we've all burnt our hand on the stove before, or like, I guess gotten a speeding ticket. Like, consequences aren't just
your
what
parents
will dish out to you. I mean, obviously, this was going to piss me off.
Yeah. Isn't that insane, though?
It pisses me off in part because as a teacher, I'm trying to figure out how much I want to say right now. As a teacher, I am in contact. I know young people who have both been victims of that, like, road racing that will happen, and who do it. And it just worries me so deeply for everybody's safety.
Yeah.
You can't work with young people and not eventually be touched. I've been working with 150 students. You can't eventually not be touched by tragedy.
Yeah.
And when that tragedy is so easily preventable, and the prevention of it is just, you can still go fast in a lot of places, but it's a difference between going fast and going like 90 down a residential street. Or like, at least in Denver, at least in the neighborhood that I live in, the roads aren't even good enough to go that fast.
Can't, yeah.
There's a part of the road that I will pull my car to under 32 because Denver doesn't take care of its neighborhoods the way
it
that, at least
doesn't.
not all of them,
No,
the way that it should.
And even some of those like little sewer drain things in the intersections.
They're
like,
massive.
They're huge.
And so how are the families of the victims, both the ones who are now deceased and the ones who were paralyzed, how are they not now suing the individual family in civil court? Right? Like, if you're not going to go to jail, well, then I'm going to sue you for loss of future income from these children that were going to take care of us.
Yeah.
Is he being sued in civil court?
Let's look a little bit. Like I said, I don't know if I said this on air or just to you that I didn't do a ton of like digging, mostly because this case made me so mad. But this is the rest of that like paragraph from Wikipedia. On December 11th, 2015, so this was, I want to say 2 years after the initial accident. So I don't know how long that was after the ruling. After December 11th, 2015, a video was posted online purporting to show Couch drinking at a party. Meanwhile, he's on probation. Couch became the subject of a manhunt and was listed in the National Fugitive Database after attempts by his probation officer to contact him failed. On December 28th, 2015, authorities detained Couch and his mother in a Mexican resort city of Puerto Vallarta. On July 13th, 2016, Couch was sentenced to serve 2 years in prison and was released in 2018.
So he went to prison for probation violation and not for the murder. The murders that he's done.
Literal murder, yeah. On January 2nd, 2020, Couch returned to jail for an alleged another probation violation. Failed a mandated drug test for THC. He was released a day later pending an investigation into whether the positive test result for THC came from illegal marijuana or a cannabidiol,
like a legalized version
an oil,
of it.
yes.
Right.
Let's look at the reaction.
There's so much you could talk about when it comes to like how do you teach young people right and wrong? What role does discipline play, and like how is it supposed to look like? But our legal system being like, oh well, if you've never experienced a consequence before, let's not start now is so out of.
Here's the thing. Okay, this is the last two paragraphs of the like reaction section of the Wikipedia page. The leading Republican and Democratic candidates in the 2014 Texas gubernatorial election, respectively, Greg Abbott and Wendy Davis, commented on the sentence. Davis referred to it as a disgrace, and Abbott, then Texas Attorney General, said his office was looking to appeal the case. At a February 5th, 2014 hearing, Eric Boyles, whose wife and daughter were killed in the crash, said had he not had money to have the defense here to also have the experts testify and also pay the treatment, I think the results would have been different.
If you didn't have this wealth of cash to fight it, it would have been different. He would be in jail right now.
Yes. And it says something that I agree with Greg Abbott on one thing. You know, that I don't know if he morally agrees, but he at least publicly said he was looking to appeal the case.
That's not how we want this justice system to work.
Yeah, that's like so like vile.
Because this case is a couple of years old. How'd you stumble upon it?
Casey remembered it.
Oh, really?
And
interesting.
I think maybe he thought it happened in New York or something.
When we were up there?
Yeah, or something like that. And also once we were really looking into it, we had already decided what the next theme was, because I knew kind of what I wanted to do, and he helps me pick the theme sometimes. But we were really looking into it at LaGuardia on the way back, and I he finally Googled it and showed me some of the news articles, and I was like, I physically cannot do a story on this, but this is something that's interesting enough. The fact that someone argued, well, he's never had a consequence,
with a straight face in a
court of law, and the fact that it passed too, that the judge was sure, I guess, that's still absolutely fucking, it's almost Patty Hearst level of insanity.
Top of the pyramid. I cannot get into more of it right now in this format, but there is this discussion that we have this is so nerdy, I know. There's this discussion that we have in the speech and debate community, which is around should we be worried about ethics when we teach kids debating strategies.
Mm-hmm.
Because the idea that you can come up with any sort of argument to justify anything is like an interesting thought experiment.
It is.
Until it's no longer a thought experiment. Until you're using this education that we've worked to provide to you to like help justify or make evil things possible in the world.
Yeah.
And that's as much as I probably have already said too much.
No, I
but
mean,
yeah,
I
there's
get
this
it.
whole thought about like
Yeah.
not everything that can be argued morally should be argued.
Like I have always been interested in doing like science related things growing up, but like law has always interested me, especially as I got older and like got more interested in like criminal proceedings and politics and stuff like that. But there was always that aspect of like I could go and take the bar or I could try and become a lawyer, but I don't think my brain is wired to be able to do that.
Yeah.
You know, like there, even if you're
to the extent that it needs to be, especially.
yeah, especially because you need to be 100% in, and you need to be 100% in. Like even some of the documentaries that I watch, they interview the lawyers and they're still
defending the case.
And like that's obviously like lawyer client privilege and all that, but like I don't think I could do that. I don't think if I happened to like defend someone who I genuinely believed is guilty, I don't think I could go on a docuseries 10 years later. I don't think I could stand in that courtroom and say this man is innocent because he had affluenza.
Right.
You know, let alone 10 years later be like, yeah, I still stand by what I did. That's like, I mean, total respect for the people that do it because you need those people, right?
And like the system, I guess in theory, needs people who are willing to advocate for your like innocence and liberty up until the very end. Like the system only works when you have someone truly there to like try to prove your innocence, at least so that we have structure.
I think it would just be so obvious for people that aren't, I don't know, in that headspace of like me, if I was defending someone who I didn't believe versus someone who I was defending who I did believe, there would be such a gap in like my success or I don't know, like.
There are lessons I ran 2-3 years ago that I'm embarrassed about having ran now, you know, let alone couldn't imagine anything more than that. Well, thank you for sharing. We have a slightly different Am I the Asshole to like finish out the evening. This is a hard pivot. I'm sorry. I didn't know what Maya was about to do. This is a hard pivot. I think it'll be fun though still.
Yeah.
So this is an Am I the Asshole
I'm
for
excited.
our New York episode. Am I the asshole for wanting to drop everything and move to New York?
No, probably not.
I know. We're all immediately like, get a girl.
Especially of the community. We're like,
Yes, please. Flee. That's what we all do.
Yes.
Here are the details. I am currently in New York City for a vacation with my significant other. This is my 4th time here and my 2nd time being here with my partner. We both love the city and has been a dream of mine to just move here. I currently live in another state, and I recently changed colleges for many reasons, one of which is that it is cheaper due to some special circumstances. It is also in a state, which means tuition is cheaper. Sorry, it's also in state, which means tuition is cheaper. Technically next spring, if I take a single class at a regional campus for the school, I qualify for an associate's degree. My bachelor's will take 4 years to get from now because of the transfer and all of that stuff. I've already been in school for 2 years, and I'm already so burnt out. Being back in the city has made me think about how happy I am here, and I want to just get my associates next spring, save up some money, and bounce to New York City. However, my mom has her associates and no bachelor's, and really wants me to get my bachelor's due to her struggles with only having an associate's. My significant other also cannot move with me because they still have 3 years left before they'll finish their bachelor's degree, and they need a bachelor's degree for their own future plans. I also would be losing out on some of the special circumstances that allow me to get my degree so cheap, but I am so burnt out from school and just want to get out of my home state. Am I the asshole? Should I just stick it out for a few more years, or should I jump at it? Are there other ways? I'm just so confused.
That's really hard. That sucks. I feel like money is such a big, I don't know, construct, and it does mean a lot, right? So I'm not putting anyone down who makes decisions because of money. That's not me, because I'm irresponsible.
We did a whole 3-arc series about a silly little treat.
A silly little treat. And I do love a silly little treat. And I feel like, I don't know, I am not as family oriented as probably you and a lot of our listeners are. And so like my mom telling me that to not do something because it didn't work out for her probably wouldn't have the same effect on me as it would some other people. But I think the partner not being able to go would be a definite consideration. But at the same time, it's like, it's a partner, right? It's not like you can try a long distance.
Right.
But also, when your lives start separating, are you gonna, if you really feel that pull to go to New York City and want to go to New York City and your partner either doesn't or can't, is that a sign that maybe your lives are going in separate directions? Right? And so like it feels like a Hallmark movie a little bit, I guess.
It does.
Yeah.
She goes to her small town and she goes, "Get me the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I want to be a girl in the big city."
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think she's the asshole by any means.
Right.
I don't think there's a right or wrong side necessarily. And it also doesn't seem like, at least in the way that they wrote this, it doesn't seem like there is anything either of those two parties, the partner or the mom, are really saying like, you're the asshole. Like you are disrespecting me. You're disrespecting our relationship. You're like not like showing enough gratitude for like how I raised you or whatever, you know? And so I don't think she's the asshole or they're the asshole. I'm projecting. But it's just a hard decision. I don't know.
I love you. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's a hard decision at all.
I think they need to go.
You gotta go. I know I left my home state. Mm-hmm. As much as I love my family, I had to get out of there. There was no living there. And also, my parents, who are probably listening to this now, they'll be the first to tell you, what they wanted has almost never been part of my calculus.
No, it shouldn't
And
either.
I love them, but they did a great job of raising independent kids. And it's like, I've made some big financial decisions in my life. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them, they've been like, well, you should think about it longer. I go, I've thought about it long enough. And it's like, pull the trigger. It's not that they were opposed to some of these big life decisions that I've made, but they've always been like, maybe a little bit more caution. And I was like, into the wind. Into the wind, caution. Let's go.
I feel like that's also our generation, too, where we're like, I want to experience things.
Yes.
You know?
Well, there's the thing, like, no promises New York isn't flooded by a hurricane in 5 years.
Yeah.
Or that you're around to see it.
It's
like,
true.
Listen, if I can give you anything from the benefit of age, when you're 30.
When you're 30.
I was young and beautiful once. I just want you to know that. No, but for reals.
I thought your doctor said you were young and healthy now.
Thank you. I wasn't sure if you remembered or not. I actually have my checkup again coming up here in a couple months. I always go around my birthday. I'm gonna live forever. Your 20s are just always going to be messy. Mm-hmm. And eventually that messiness is going to come into something that means something to you towards the end. Mm-hmm. But there's no right way to do your 20s. And there's also no way to get through them without
making mistakes.
Filled with regret for various things, you know? I think
so true.
All the time about who I would be now if I started hiking and all the things that I do and meditating when I was 23 and not when I was 28. I don't get a chance to meet that person. I'm glad that I'm this person that I am now. Go to New York. Mm-hmm. In-state tuition's going to keep existing. You can go back if you want. You can also, sounds like, ditch this boyfriend you don't care about.
Also, like, debt in my head is like, everyone has it at this point.
Yes.
And especially if you're going into debt for something that is considered an investment in yourself.
Right.
I don't consider that debt.
Yeah.
And I know that's girl math to a fault because I do that every time I take a trip. I'm like, well, I'm going to be a cooler person afterwards. I'm going to Germany and it's going to change my life.
I am living to be the eccentric uncle who picks his 18-year-old niece up at the airport or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then we just spend all weekend gossiping. And I go, well, you want to know what your father was really like when he was a kid? No, let me tell you a thing or two, right?
A great uncle.
I'm so excited. Now, honey, do not put this in the machine, okay? I got it in Turkey. All right? You're going to have to hand wash it, which means you're going to have to learn how to hand wash it.
Yes.
That is the uncle I want to be. So what I'm trying to say is, like, you're so lucky to have a fire and a passion for something. I think we both also know people who are like, I wish I had a bit more of a direction. I wish I had a bit more of a North Star to run to. Today, as part of class, I swear to God it was aligned to the curriculum. I showed two of my periods the monologue from Fleabag, where she goes, I just want someone to tell me what to do and what to think and what to wear and what to find funny and what what is right and what is wrong. Like, I just want someone to tell me what to do because I think I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And like all the kids are watching it and studying it for like the elements of a scene that I've instructed them to.
Yeah.
But I'm in the back like, you don't even get it right now because you have loads of people telling you what to do. And then one day they're all going to go away. And you're going to have to be the one that says, no, we eat a vegetable this month.
It's really true. It's really true. And like, I don't think I had really a choice in like where I go to college for a whole slew of reasons. But also when it came to picking where I wanted to apply for jobs, I was so picky about it. And that was one thing that me and my mom disagreed on a lot because my mom was like, you need to go
first job that they give
wherever the jobs are. And I was like, I would rather die.
I have a degree from one of the best engineering schools in the country. I can wait.
I would rather die than do that because I had 2 internships at this point, one of which was in Rhode Island, which was great. I got to spend time. All my extended family is on the East Coast, so I got to spend time with them. But I also realized beach life, not for me. Not for more than a couple weeks.
Right.
You know, like I love the beach. It's just not the same as like being here and like where the mountains are. And like I'm a mountain girly. And so I had like 3 places in my head where I would accept a job, and that was like here or like Oregon, Washington.
Sure.
That was it. That was it.
End of list.
That was the end of my list. And my mom was like, you need to extend your options. Mm-hmm. And I was like, it's 2020. The jobs are limited.
Right.
It'll be fine.
I'm a woman in STEM.
I'm a woman.
Bunsen burner. On.
And my second internship was in Oklahoma. And the reason I am able to drink whiskey straight is, I shit you not, because of that job. Because me and one of my friends, Nick, and I love him dearly. I should actually text him. I haven't talked to him in a while. I love him so much. He's
happening now. Stay tuned.
He lives in Texas, I think. He was a year younger than me. But one day we like looked at each other and we were like, let's learn to drink whiskey straight.
That's such a nuts thing.
He also learned how to drink vodka straight that summer, dear friend. There was nothing to do. And I was like, I would literally rather eat my own arm than be somewhere that is this boring. And so
here's the thing.
Go what makes you happy. The location is so important.
And if I can actually say this, here's a little bit of lore. Here's a bit of lore about my own life. It is so okay to make a decision that ends up being, I don't want to say a mistake, but not what you want it to be, and then immediately changing it. I've referenced a couple times that before I lived here in Colorado and was teaching here, I lived in California for a year. And I loved California. And like any little gay boy who grew up in the Midwest, as I was finishing up my senior year of college, I got a job offer from a school out in California, and it was just a yes. It was an immediate yes.
Yeah, why not?
You know, I thought I knew a little bit about the community, but it was like, yes, get me to California. And I moved to a beautiful community that was also very rural and, you know, had a social life, but wasn't what I was looking for. You know, I was probably looking for Manhattan, and I found myself in what felt a lot more like Manhattan, Kansas. Midwestern girlies get it.
Yeah.
Anyways, I remember having this terrible, I guess, breakdown, maybe for lack of a better word, that December, January, the year after I graduated college, because I thought I had done everything right. And I had stayed in state, and I had gotten the degree, and that wasn't a bad thing. I loved going to the university. But I thought I had clicked all the boxes, and then I got a job out in California, and I was 4 months into it, and I was miserable. Miserable in a way that was far more profound than I was talking about when people asked me how I was. And that then also meant I had to accept that maybe I hadn't made a mistake, but that the decision I made wasn't one that I was willing to stand by anymore. And I had to change. And then through a series of events, got a job in Denver and my life really started. And I'm so thankful for that. And I think back to that time in California now, and it makes me laugh and it makes me chuckle, and I don't want to go do it again, but I'm thankful for that experience.
Yeah.
None of your decisions are permanent unless you want them to be.
Exactly.
Especially when it's like, do I move to the city when I'm a young 20-something? So do it. And whatever this version is for you, dear listener, do it as well. And this isn't New Year's gas trying to hype you up. This is two people who were very specific about the kind of place they wanted to live in, and are grateful that we lived there.
And I also had so many friends in high school that ended up going to out-of-state colleges that ended up coming back by their sophomore or junior year because they were either miserable or hated it. And granted, for all of those people that I know, there's that many people that went out of state for jobs or college or whatever and ended up loving it and stayed there. And so you won't know until you know, right? And like you can hear anecdotal stories all you want and nothing's going to really tell you what to do until you know what to do.
Right.
And if something's pulling you to New York, babes, you got to go.
Gotta go to New York.
Yeah.
And that's coming from a person too who loved the state school in their hometown that they went to. Like it's just 100% where your heart lies.
And I think the reason I was so like kind of iffy on whether or not like they should or not, it's like people have different values, right? You know, some cultures, some families are more like family oriented and are like more geared towards that. I don't know, kind of like staying where the family is, but I don't know. I
have one more story to share in relation to this. So I think part of the reason why when I was in California that I knew it wasn't what I wanted was, one, I kept spending so much time driving up to San Francisco. So much time, so much gas. The Golden Gate Bridge was exactly almost to the minute, 2 hours from my front door until your car started to cross it. And it was actually really funny too. The Golden Gate Bridge has a license plate reader and then it just sends the toll to where it's registered at, which when I was 22 and just out of college was still my parents' house.
Nice.
And so they would occasionally receive in the mail, oh, Grant was at the Golden Gate Bridge a week or two ago or whatever.
Fun.
That was funny. Anyways, before any of that, I had gone to New York for a conference when I was junior, senior in college. I'm 20, 21, 22. I'm in that range. And I'm visiting two of my cousins that live up there. And these are cousins from the cool side of the family.
Ooh.
I mean, love all my family, but these are the cousins that moved to New York, you know?
They are the cool cousins.
They're the cool cousins. That's a hard title to beat.
It's hard because it's New York City and that's the cool cousins. And it's like weird backcountry New York and that
upstate.
Can quickly become the weird cousins.
Correct.
Yeah.
Very much so, like, ooh, weird, no cell phone service here, huh? These were the cool cousins. One of them worked for the Metropolitan Opera. I forget exactly what the other one did, but they're very cool. And we're in Koreatown having dinner at like 11 p.m., which is, I'm going to the University of Nebraska. That is bedtime.
Even going from Denver, like downtown Denver to New York City, I was like, why is a shawarma place open? It's 1 a.m.
What is that family with small babies doing at this 9 p.m. sitting of this Italian place? New York, you're beautiful. But we're at this Korean restaurant and we're chatting and it's like super late and I'm delirious and their night's just starting and they order a round of sake for the table and they pour it and you know, rice wine, it's warm rice wine, so it's in just the tiny little cups, but I'm not the one that poured it, so I'm unaware that it's warm. And I'm only starting to get hints of the warmth from my fingertips that are holding the small little cup, and we all go up to like cheers and we're like toast, and we're bringing it to our lip, and I don't know what possesses me, but before it touches my face, I go, wait, is this like a sipping thing, or are we all about to shoot this? Because I'm brand new, and it's the first time I've ever been in New York or anything.
Yeah, you have to know.
Exactly. And my cousins go, oh, sip it. It's like really hot. And I went, I almost made a horrible mistake. I had only ever been served shooter things in a container this size.
Yes, exactly.
It was supposed to immediately go down, and I almost like...
Sake is a confusing drink for Americans.
Almost scolded my entire mouth, but I have wonderful cousins. It was a fantastic time. Years later, my dad found out everything that happened on that trip.
Oh,
Nothing too scandalous, but probably...
More scandalous than he was expecting.
A lot easier to hear when your son's sitting in front of you in the light of the day back in Nebraska and not in the big city with his cousins.
Yeah, that's fair.
So New York, you treated us well.
Yeah, I loved
New York. I did not go on the trip to New York with you. Do you have any final anecdotes? Because I think I'm now fresh out of New York content.
This is like my second time in New York City now, and I love it. I don't think I could do more than like 2 weeks there, probably tops, just because I get claustrophobic a little bit, and I remember that distinctly. The first time I went was in high school for like a high school spring break trip.
Sure.
And I just remember by the end, I was like, my social battery was completely worn out because I was like rooming with like my high school friends, and it is a dirty city. Like, I love you. I love you so
pigeons.
much. Yeah, it is kind of a lot, and it never ends. Like, things are going on at all hours of the day, but Broadway makes it all worth it. We saw 3 shows while we were there.
Yeah.
We saw Hadestown, Hamilton, and Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, which Hadestown I loved. It was fucking amazing, and like the music, the direction, the choreography, everything, like it, like that. We watched Hadestown and Hamilton in the same day, and I cried twice in that day. It was just like so freaking good. And Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, I will say, like, the story isn't particularly good. The effects, absolutely fucking worth it. Like, it is, like, there were several times where even, like, Casey and I, who did theater work, like, in high school,
right,
mainly, like, Casey, he did more of, like, the bigger kind of effects.
He was a tech guy.
Yeah, he was a tech guy. He, like, kind of understood more of it. But even after that, we were like, I still don't know how they did some of that.
How they pulled it all off.
Like, it looked like the movies. Like, it looked like you were sitting in the movies, and you're like, these people are actually, like, there. Where did they go? Where did they go?
What do you mean? What
do
you mean?
And it's also, there is a queer, like, love story, and it's not, like,
that.
It's not very explicit, but it's
all right, I'll watch it.
It's obvious, right? And I, like, if you're gonna, I think you can watch it on, like, Amazon Prime or something, and it definitely won't have the same effect as seeing it live, just because, like, the effects are so bananas.
Sure.
And I think it is going on a North American tour here soon, so if you can watch it, absolutely would. Like, I can't even stress, I was not impressed by the story, but, like, the fucking effects were so cool, and they're all the time. And there's, at intermission, I was texting Kelsey, who's a big Harry Potter fan, and I was like, holy fucking shit. What? And she's like, are you at intermission? Are you in the lobby? And I was like, yeah. She was like, did you see they changed all of the merch and all the decor to Dark Mark stuff? Like the Dark Mark, like Voldemort Dark Mark. There's a time turner involved in the plot. And so at some point they mess with stuff, and when they come back to the present time, Voldemort's still alive. And so there's Dark Mark. But when you go into the lobby, they've changed all the decor, all of, like, the merch, all the drinks, all of the screens and everything are completely different. It's just, like, the attention to detail that, like,
really satisfies
really
you.
Fucking really scratched my itches. And I feel like I've talked too much about Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, but Hadestown I've been singing for, like, the last 2 weeks. So
yeah, I remember we were in New Year's Eve celebrations, and I was still hearing Hadestown.
I love it so much. There's not enough to say about it. Like, it's just a phenomenal story and phenomenal musical. And Jordan Fisher's in it right now. He was off while I was there, but it's fine. He's like I don't want to say he's a Disney star, because he's not, but he was in, like, All the Boys I've Loved Before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I get it. And I also mourn with you. I want
know.
you to know
I
that
saw
too.
him in the program, and I was like, it's Jordan Fisher, in case he was like, who's that? And I, like, Googled him really quick to make sure I was, like, right, and I was like, it's Jordan Fisher, and he, like, looked at the little insert, and he was like, he's not here. And I was like...
A, like, a little sheet of paper falls out, and he's like, oh, no.
But yeah, New York was amazing, and yeah, we went to the Met. Casey and I argued about Jackson Pollock, who I think is...
Who you despise.
Really hate, and...
And Casey, whose apparently favorite thing is whimsy, loves.
He loves whimsy, and he loves Jackson Pollock, and I just can't disagree with him more on that. But that's love, you know. You disagree with.
Love is also Mo, who keeps. Oh, those are your slippers. Never mind.
Is that why you keep looking under the table?
I kept thinking I was tapping Mo in surprise that they weren't, like, reacting at all or anything.
No,
it's been your slippers.
It's my slippers.
For like a whole hour. Okay, that's actually kind of really crazy news here. Last thing I wanted to ask.
Yes.
Since this is the first episode of 2024.
Oh, yeah.
And the holidays are kind of officially now behind us. Are you excited to be back in your routine?
Yes, I feel like I haven't really gotten there yet because it's like the third day back from Breck.
Sure.
And the first day back from Breck, Casey and I went on a walk because I thought I was okay. And I felt like his ailing mother he was taking on her daily walk to the park. Like kept trying to talk to him and couldn't stop coughing. And he was like, why don't we just focus on breathing?
Why don't we just kind of sit down for a second and then immediately turn back around?
Yeah. He was like, do you need to go home? And I was like, no!
Do you need to sit right here? I was like, go get the car to bring you home?
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. That's fine.
I am thrilled to be back in my routine. It is crazy how much I feel like I'm a creature of habit, and it's just nice to be back, too.
Yeah, it feels
Let's be back
good.
to stuff, including this. And we will be doing next week's episode here soon, and the theme is...
Law and disorder.
Law and disorder. As soon as you texted, it was one of the few times as soon as you texted me, I was like, okay, I got it. I absolutely have it.
I'm excited.
You should be. I am too. Until
I need
then,
to
friends.
pee, so you do this little
Perfect. Fun.
thing.
Until then, friends, thank you so much for tuning in. We have a P.O. box, which you can find somewhere online, I believe. Linktree. It's in the Linktree. You can find us on social media. At TikTok, we are Well I Laughed. On Instagram, we are Well I Laughed. And on YouTube and Facebook, we are Well I Laughed Podcast. You can also email us at welilaughedpod@gmail.com. And we have additional content on our Patreon if you're interested in joining that as well. Until then, we hope you had a wonderful time with us. Sorry if this wasn't the typical structure that you're used to. Maya and I think are also definitely coming out of the holidays. But we hope you enjoyed it. And if you didn't, well, we laughed. And it's been forever since we've said that. Bye. I don't know how to turn off the mic.
That's staying.
Good.